From prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to CreatureGuide Live Daily News live stream. Today. I will be having random articles thrown at me. I've been told some will be funny and some will be serious. So let's dive into the animal news of the day. From wavy.com, the North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission, which is the NCWRC, warns of increased bear activity from late summer into fall. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on. The North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission is urging residents to be cautious as bears begin to fatten up for the winter. Technically, bears begin fattening up for the winter once they leave hibernation. According to a release, in terms of North Carolina bears, that would be at some point in early March, depending on how severe the winter is and where they have been hibernating. Whereas females, it can be as late as early April, but sometimes they come out earlier in the year. It just depends on weather conditions, how much they stored up for the winter. According to a release, throughout the late summer and throughout fall, black bears enter a phase called hyperphagia, which means extreme appetite. This occurs with all bears throughout North America, as well as different parts of Europe and Northern Asia. During hyperphagia, bears significantly increase their food consumption in order to prepare for the winter months. In late summer through fall, black bears are consuming a variety of hard and soft mast species. So, mast refers to different types of nuts, from acorns and hickory nuts to pokeberry, cherry, grapes, and black gum. So, these are all the different species of trees that release these types of nuts. They'll also take advantage of agricultural crops such as soybeans and standing corn, as well as bird feeders and unsecured garbage and compost. Well, the thing is that you have it with different states, especially like states such as Iowa, which are seeing an increase in black bear sightings, where there's not really even historically a lot of habitat for bears throughout the main part of Iowa. Um, and even different parts of Nebraska. Now, I know I'm talking about the Midwest and not necessarily the East Coast, like North Carolina. But the thing is, because of recent times and the availability of a lot of carbohydrates for the black bears, they will probably venture further into these different areas just because also certain parts of the year of the access to these carbs. If they weren't there, they'd probably just stay on the um, eastern side of states like Iowa and Nebraska. Okay, so the release also states that during hyperphagia, bears can search for up to 20 hours per day for food, often venturing outside their normal home ranges. In places like North Carolina, probably not, considering many of the areas they do have access to dumpsters and just a lot of leftover carbohydrates or even protein in the trash. So in some cases, they don't need to travel very far. And that's how you also have had an increase of birth rates is due to more bears able to put on fat much quicker. Due to this, there's an increased chance for bears and humans to cross paths. Even in warmer climates such as our state, a bear's biological clock will still activate this fall feeding frenzy, even for those bears that hibernate briefly or not at all, as natural food scarcity in winter months, not temperatures, has been a key driver for activating the hyperphagia and hibernation process. Excuse me. Let's see. So this is probably occurring over in the eastern side of North Carolina, where it's much warmer than compared to the higher altitudes over in the western part of the state, as well as eastern Tennessee and northwestern South Carolina. You could even say northeastern Alabama. Was it Alabama? No, Georgia. So, no, I must be confusing that. Okay, my bad. I'm confusing my states. I'm just thinking of the southernmost area of the Appalachian Mountains. So, in those areas, like in the Pisgah National Forest, the Smoky Mountains, where I am referring to, they tend to hibernate each year. Whereas over on the coast, so near the Croatan National Forest, as well as the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, they occasionally will hibernate. So let's take a look at this video up here. Okay, so he just seems rather curious. I'm guessing he probably doesn't smell anything necessary over in the trash. Or she, that was a mother with her cubs. Oh, okay, so this is a bear with a tracking color on it. So he's part of some study. They're obviously tracking his movements, trying to see how large his territory might be, what they're feeding on.
I think he's coming over for cake.
Yeah, it seemed that way. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. So, oh, he smells probably a variety of things in the house. Probably smells pretty much everything. Though it is interesting how there are certain individuals that are much more likely to break in, and then others that it's almost as if they've had experience with breaking in and maybe they got popped with a BB gun or something and they just decide not to do it afterwards. So this is probably in some parks further west in the state, just by judging like the hilly terrain. There's also somewhere around 18,000 to 20,000 black bears within the state of North Carolina, and it looks like that population continues to increase. Probably just oh yeah, one of these. He's still trying it out. This guy's persistent. Okay. Well, it's really good to see. That was pretty good footage with the bears over in North Carolina. I'm guessing that was all from the state, the habitat or at least the vegetation, the overall climatic look just appeared to be all from North Carolina. So, um,
Are you ready for the next one?
yeah, yeah, let's head over to the next one. I think South Carolina's black bear population is increasing. It has a much smaller population. Might be 3 to 4,000 bears within the region. But let's head over back to prehistory. So, from SciNews.com, new Cretaceous era Titanosaur species discovered in Argentina. A new genus and species of Rebbachisauride mimicking Titanosaurian sauropod that stretched over 15 meters or 50 feet in length has been unearthed in Patagonia, Argentina. Well, this is really good to hear. I wonder how long ago this Rebbachisauride existed. Rebbachisaurids tend to be a more common group of sauropods that are discovered over in Africa. Not that they aren't from places like South America, they're just less common. So, life reconstruction of Ainowenta ocellatus. That's an interesting name. The newly discovered dinosaur roamed our planet during the late Cretaceous epoch, approximately 86 million years ago. Wow. Okay. So, this is actually nice to hear. This is much further into the late Cretaceous than what we tend to hear of Rebbachisaurids or even other species of Titanosaur. We tend to hear them during the, Tyrrhenian age of the late Cretaceous, so somewhere around 7 million years ago. Dubbed Inuwenta ocellatus, the animal was a type of titanosaur, a diverse group of long-necked sauropods that lived from the late Jurassic, 163.5 to 145 million years ago. The titanosaurs didn't evolve until somewhere around 140 million years ago, so that's, inaccurate. To the end of the Cretaceous, yes, they survived till the mass extinction. Actually, a wide variety of Titanosaur sauropods did. They're known for okay. Let's see. Hold on a second. We have sauropods that are actually much smaller than today's elephants. Now, if you're talking certain prehistoric elephant species, that would be quite accurate. But there are certain sauropod species that didn't reach much more than 1,800 pounds. So we're talking about the size of a large Alaskan moose. So let's see. During the late Mesozoic, sauropod dinosaurs constituted the predominant herbivorous animals in all the. No, 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 we know this. Okay, with the um, where's the animal? What? Okay, a partially complete specimen of Ainowenta ocellatus was recovered from fluvial system deposits of the La Invernada site, which is part of the Bajo de la Carpa formation in the Neuquén Basin, Patagonia, Argentina. Okay, so in the Bajo de la Carpa formation, there have been a wide variety of other groups of both Saurischian and less so Ornithischian dinosaurs. But there have also been a wide variety of different species of crocodilomorphs. So you have animals such as Limasuchus, which existed in the region, and even Coriolanasuchus. I believe there are at least 5 other different species of crocodilomorphs. And then we also had a species of a belly sword that existed here. Guess reaching somewhere between 20 to 25 feet in length. And also other larger species of Titanosaur that have been discovered in the Bajo de la Carpa Formation. The recovered skeletal remains were found articulated in a horizon of massive reddish colored edified mudstones, which are covered by a thin sandy layer 30 centimeters thick or 12 inches, linked to river overbank flooding deposits. So we do have a massive floodplain that occurred as part of the ecosystem in this region. Inowintu ocellatus shows remarkable convergent traits of its skull anatomy with Rebbachisaurus sauropods. Inowintu ocellatus belongs to a clade of square-jawed titanosaurian species that were restricted to the last stages of the late Cretaceous in South America. The Rebbachisaurids, they pretty much existed throughout all of the late Cretaceous. The discovery of new materials and different data sets that provide new morphological information will allow us to to provide better support in future phylogenes that confirm the presence of this clade of square-jawed titanosaurs. The Rebbachisaurs did have a very distinct sort of skull structure that you don't really find in any other sauropod groups. The closest might be something like certain diplodocids, but even then, the Rebbachisaur is still very distinct. Inowenta ocellatus and probably other members of this clade possess apparent trophic adaptation seen in the preceding Rebbachisaur sauropods, such as a broad snout and a relatively short neck, depending on the species. There are certain Rebbachisaurids, I believe others from South America. I think Brazil, possibly not Argentina, did possess very short, stocky necks, while others actually had quite long and narrow necks compared to their body size. And we are talking about animals that are around 40 to 50 feet in length. In this context, the shortened cervical series of Inowenta ocellatus could be in concordance with low browsing feeding behavior. This would have paleoecological implications, such as a faunistic turnover in post-Turonian times in the Gondwanan continental ecosystems and low browsing dietary habits in two different lineages of sauropod dinosaurs. So, what it's referring to by the low browsing dietary habits is that these animals were probably feeding low to the ground. So, on a wide variety of low lying ferns, as well as probably different species of shrubs and even younger species of trees, a wide variety of conifers. Oh, that's it. Did you ever mention the size of this animal? No. Okay, so that's a mystery. Like, how big was possibly I know when to? Um, yeah, that's a big question. I'm guessing this animal was probably at least somewhere around 20 to 30 feet in length, or somewhere between what 7 to 9 meters.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I believe there also might have been a species of megaraptor that was found in this region, and definitely other species of possibly omnivorous alvarezsaurids that existed here. So, the family of theropods that also consisted of the mononychids. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. From iflscience.com, meet the bumblebee bat. The world's smallest bat is the last of its kind. The bumblebee bat weighs no more than a few paperclips. So the bumblebee bat is also known as the Kitey's hognose bat. And this animal has a wingspan of possibly not much more than 1.3 inches. It's very small. I could be underestimating the wingspan length, but when it comes to how large it is, that I do not know. Okay, so oh yeah, so also um, the Kaidi hognose bats, they exist in a small area of western Thailand, as well, it's adjacent to an area of eastern Myanmar. So it's over in Southeast Asia. The bumblebee bat, also known as Kaites hognose bat, it's the Crossine Nycteris thonglungi, is the smallest known species of bat, fragile in form and existence, there are serious fears that this teabag-sized treasure is in trouble. And just funny that they compared it to a teabag. In danger with extinction and left with an uncertain future. Also, the thing is, when it comes to this specific species of bat, it belongs to a family of bats that actually contains six other subfamilies of bats. Okay, so measuring a minuscule 3 centimeters or 1.2 inches in length, I think that's the wingspan. Bumblebee bats are additionally the world's smallest mammal in terms of body size. Okay, that, wait, although the Etruscan shrew is regarded as smallest by body mass. Yeah, you see, okay, so the Etruscan shrew does still hold the title because um, it's probably referring to the length of this animal as to it being the smallest. So the Etruscan shrew is just smallest by weight. Still, the bat only weighs in around 2 grams. Okay, that makes sense. About the weight of two paper clips. Bumblebee bats are native to the limestone caves of the floodplains in western Thailand and southeast Myanmar in Southeast Asia. So, also when it comes to these limestone caves that bumblebee bats are found in, they occasionally you might have it where there's only around 15 to 20 individuals, but usually you can find them in larger clades of like 100 individuals and even as much as 500. They have a very limited amount of time that they tend to spend out foraging. During like towards dusk, they might only be foraging for different species of flies, even ants or wasps, for somewhere around 30 minutes. And then they head back to their cave. And then during the morning, they might be out for about a little over 20 minutes. So these are specifically insectivores. Believe they feed on at least 6 different orders of insects. There's many different orders of insects. So that includes several families and group species. Anyway, although, let's see, armed with their distinctive pig-like noses, they leave their cavernous roosts at dawn and dusk, foraging the local area for flying insects using echolocation. Certain other species of bats are going to travel much further and at least be outside their cave for a much longer period of time compared to these bats. Possibly, this could help. This could be an evolutionary strategy to help evade other predators that might feed on them, like different species of predatory birds, other species of mammals. You could have it where there might be certain species of gliding squirrels within different parts of Thailand and Myanmar that will prey on these bats. I'm not sure about the whole population. Although this part of the world is no stranger to bats, Asia is home to over 400 species. It is the sole surviving species of the entire Crucinicuturidae bat family, which split from the others around 33 million years ago. So, sounds like he's the last of a subfamily of bats, and they have been around for at least since the beginning of the Oligocene epoch. So, this was before animals such as like true camels first evolved. And this is around the time that cats or felidae first started evolving. And that all occurred somewhere around 32 to 34 million years ago. There are reasons to be both pessimistic and optimistic about the species' existence. First, the bad news. The Thai and Myanmar populations are small and isolated from one another. Genetic and echolocation studies suggest that groups rarely mix, which limits the exchange of genes between them. When populations become fragmented like this, the risk of inbreeding rises, reducing genetic diversity and leaving the species more vulnerable to disease, environmental changes, or other threats. Additionally, there's threat of human activity. A survey of their population in 2007 noted that some of their habitats are cloaked with smoke and dust from nearby factories within the bat's foraging area. Wow, that's actually kind of shocking considering, like, when you look at the area, it looks like it's completely forested, and you would think that it would help mitigate the smoke in the area. But in some instances, depending on, remember, there's several different types of chemicals. So depending on what's being released, you can have it where the forest is going to take a much longer period of time to mitigate it. Also, bats have quite a decent sense of smell, so that's also going to have an impact. Anyway, Mongabay reports the bats' caves are also frequented by monks using the caves for meditation, drug users escaping to caves for a fix, and tourists driven by the desire to see the bats. That's, as much as this might seem to not really have a major impact, it probably does. It could have just a major impact on the reproductive cycle of these animals, make them uncomfortable in many ways, so have an impact on reproduction. So the only other thing I would say is I would not have Mongabay as a um, well, okay, for what you cited from Mongabay, it's fine. Now, the slightly better news: the thumb-sized bats used to be categorized as endangered on the IUCN Red List. Although their status has since been upgraded to near threatened, researchers still believe their numbers are on a downward trajectory. Okay, let's keep going. But a better understanding of little known habitats may challenge that. The 2007 survey estimated there are 3,800 individuals left in the world. Okay, has there not been a recent estimate since 2007? That was 18 years ago. That's bad. That wasn't good for back then. However, the researchers noted that their populations had predominantly been studied in Thailand. That's still not good for the Thailand population, considering we're being it's stating at least that these bats rarely receive genetics from the other population. In Myanmar, they suspect the population is healthier, although there haven't been robust studies on their population in this region. This one of a kind bat species still has the potential to survive in the decades ahead, provided it's given the respect and space it needs. So that's interesting. Most articles make it out like, yeah, this animal is probably going to go extinct. Poor bongos. But instead, this one's like, no, you only have 38 individuals, at least what we know are from 18 years ago, but you'll make it. It's just funny. Anyway,
You mean 3,800?
what did I say?
You said 38.
Oh, yeah, that's like close to Javan rhino bad. Though they say that about that specific animal too. Um, when it comes to the animals in the area that this bat coexists with, there are nearby, or if there's certain national parks within these specific areas of Myanmar and Thailand, there could be tigers within the region, possibly small populations of elephants. And yes, I'm ready for the next one. Um, and possibly the Indian gar, bovids, so distant relatives of bison. Okay, so moving forward from the bangerdailies.com, main guide and tracker recover partially eaten black bear. Well, this is weird, unless this is taking place in another state. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Oh, is it one of these? I don't think we're able to. It's one of these articles. The only thing that I can think of that would have eaten a black bear is and killed it. Um that walks on all four legs would be another black bear, which is possible. It does occur. There aren't any brown bears within Maine, so that couldn't have occurred. Polar bears don't reach Maine. Um, Wolves used to inhabit Maine, but now just occasionally you get coy wolves, so there are somewhat hybrids. So they are larger than coyotes. And then maybe coyotes feeding on like a cub or scavenging from an adult, but outside of that. Okay, well, let's move forward from that odd crime scene. From sciencenews.org. Crystallized dino eggs provide a peek into the tumultuous Lake Cretaceous. Hidden crystals allow scientists to date fossils from a famous site in China for the first time. Hmm. So, crystals of carbonate found inside fossil dinosaur eggs offer a rare chance to determine the egg's absolute age. Wow, that is really well preserved. Okay. So crystals hidden inside dinosaur eggs at a famous fossil site are giving scientists a chance to do something that's long proven elusive. Figure out how old the ancient nests really are. Finding these fossilized eggs' true shelf life make it possible to connect large-scale changes in climate to tiny shifts in the structure of eggshells. So it's probably talking about the different changes in climate back in the Cretaceous. However, we don't know how old these eggs are at the moment. That in turn offers a new way to assess the ancient environments in which the dinosaurs nested. The King Longshan assemblage in central China contains over 3,000 dinosaur eggs of unknown parentage and until now, uncertain age. But a clutch of 28 eggs at the site contains a secret clue. Like an eggy geode, the fossils bear large crystals of the mineral calcium carbonate. That calcium carbonate contains trace amounts of uranium in its crystal structure, making it possible to geochemically date the fossils based on estimates of the rate of radioactive decay of uranium to lead. Okay, well, let's keep going. Analysis revealed that the eggs are about 86 million years old, deposited during the late Cretaceous period. What's interesting, we were just talking about a species of Rebecca-sword sauropod that was supposedly 86 million years old. But that was over in Argentina, and these Chinese eggs happen to be the same age.
I didn't do this on purpose.
Yeah, it's just I've caught this before. By then, the planet had cooled down considerably from the hot house temperatures of the mid Cretaceous. There was a bit of a warming event that occurred during the end of the early Cretaceous, and then eventually towards the late Cretaceous, there was a bit of a cooling event. But definitely during the early Cretaceous, there had occurred different like massive cooling events that possibly had kept out like different species of crocodilomorphs from moving to places like Australia, despite certain species of close relatives of salamanders occurring there, the temnospondals. Anyway, let's keep going. And that drop in temperature could explain why the king longshan egg shells are so porous, um, or filled with many holes. Let's see. The number of pores, tiny holes in the shell that allow oxygen to enter and carbon dioxide to exit, can indicate environmental conditions such as humidity, temperature, or even how deeply buried a nest might have been. Wow, is that the whole nest? That looks great. Yeah. Wow. Being able to okay, so dinosaur eggs are generally dated using indirect methods, such as analyzing the surrounding rocks or ash, or assessing the relative age of other fossils in the rocks. But those methods don't provide precise ages. Directly dating the eggs could therefore answer myriad questions, the researchers say, even about the final days of the dinosaurs. Well, the thing is that even with the date that they gave us, it's still not extremely um, precise. I mean, 86 million years ago, you're still talking about a million years where there would have been drastic changes over time. Like if you look at the last million years and what occurred during the Pleistocene epoch or the Ice Age, there were several different glacial events that were occurring, different habitat changes, different types of animals were evolving, going extinct. So this is honestly saying, okay, it's a good amount, especially for the late Cretaceous, but it's still not very much. Okay. So, I will say though, that's a pretty good representation of the dinosaur nest. There have been a wide variety of different nests that have been discovered over in different places like Mongolia, China, but even over in North America, there have been quite a few different nest sites from the hadrosaurs or the duck-billed dinosaurs. Okay, I'm ready for the next one. Okay, so from the cowboystatedaily.com. Dim-witted Yellowstone tourists believe angry bison was performing for them. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Yellowstone's fun because there's always going to be um just amusing tourist situations. Anyway, although tourists in Yellowstone laughed at an angry bison and thought it was performing for them, bison biologists say the hopping bison was building up for an attack, a turn that could have been tragic for the tourists holding their smartphones. Yeah, usually sometimes when bison are hopping, it just means that they feel very confident amongst, like, let's say there's a smaller brown bear in the region, or, well, technically against A full-grown bison, every brown bear on Earth is smaller, but the grizzly bears over in Wyoming don't usually reach much more than like 800 pounds, like in the fall. But anyway, or against some wolves. This is also seeing different species of ungulates, where like wildebeest in Africa, if you tend to see them kind of hopping amongst like a pack of African painted dogs, it means that they're full of energy still. However, there are also other instances with bison where if it's hopping, it does tend to mean it's becoming very agitated, especially in this stance. You see the tail perking up. Okay, video of a hopping bison getting crowded by tourists at Yellowstone National Park has been viewed. Okay, was there a no? Okay, just a blurry picture. Thousands of people have been charmed by a video of a performing bison in Yellowstone National Park that appeared to be prancing around and hopping out of playfulness. For by bison biologists, the Friday video has less charm and more charge to it. Hmm. To them, the sight signaled an animal building up for an attack, a turn that could have been tragic for the tourists leaning into the animal with their smartphones. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. The video, titled "He Came to Perform for Tourists" and posted by Jake Slater, shows a crowd of tourists watching the bison from a Yellowstone boardwalk. The bison sprints past the wooden boardwalk, then starts hopping and vigorously shaking its head. I believe that's also a bull as well. It's also been about, let's see, it's just September 11th. It's been about 5 to 6 weeks since the rut of the bison has stopped. So he's not going through the rut. He's just agitated at this point. I think, unless this occurred much earlier in the year. As the bison snorts and roars, the tourists laugh. At least one of the spectators has the wherewithal to realize the bison isn't playing and says, "I am not comfortable." That was the appropriate response, biologists say. If the bison has gotten a little more agitated, there could have been several serious injuries on the boardwalk. Slater's video has been viewed nearly 10 million times, with many people commenting on how amusing and cute the bison was behaving. It is insane, like how many people don't understand, like like the different body language that animals make, but you could just say that about regular people too. But they don't really understand like what it's doing. Like if you see an elephant moving from side to side at a sanctuary or a zoo, it's not dancing. That's actually it. It actually means it's quite stressed and it can barely move around. Um, but yeah, in this instance where bison's hopping, its tail's perked up, or even it doesn't have to be hopping, its tail's just perked up. It's agitated. Others recognized the extraordinary amount of danger those people were in. This bison could have easily plowed into the tourists. Uh, let's move down a little bit. Okay, so that bison was not performing except to demonstrate his agitation. They are so fast, and these people were way too close. Okay, let's see what happened. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, however far away he was, I don't think he really could have done much. Yeah, I mean, were they following him or hmm, strange. Okay, let's see. Does anything else occur? Okay. No, that's it. Okay. Well, I will say though, on the bright side, that male bison looked pretty healthy and was full of energy. So, um, hopefully, he was able to breed earlier in the breeding season as well. Its first starts in like think early July, but it peaks in like late July to like the first week of August, but will still persist until like the third week of August. Okay, so moving on from jsonline.com, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, DNR releases updated Wisconsin wolf population estimate. Okay, well, this is going to be exciting to hear considering it's been increasing steadily and like drastically in recent years. Yeah, but actually, it might just have enough. Wisconsin had an estimated 1,226 gray wolves and 336 wolf packs in winter of 2024 to 25, according to the Department of Natural Resources. Wow. Okay. Geez, that is a massive increase from what I last heard. I think it was somewhere between 800 to 900 individuals. I might have been a few years behind, but that is extraordinary. Wisconsin, so definitely they're covering at least the upper what 45 to 60% of the state. With that dense of a number, they could be in different counties, but um, yeah, they're doing very well. And I think they also have a lot of genetic variety within the state as well. Not 100% sure on that, but I think they're doing better than certain other populations. Okay, so moving forward from the IFLscience.com, adorable new species of snailfish filmed 3,268 meters below the sea, and there's a video. I think this translates to somewhere around 7 to 8,000 feet below sea level. No, wait a second. That wouldn't be right. That would be like somewhere between 9 and 11,000 feet. Anyway, three new species of snailfish showed there's still plenty of mystery surrounding the deep sea. Oh, wow. This guy. I don't know what to make about him. He looks okay. Okay, so in 2019, scientists in 2019, scientists spotted something thousands of meters below the ocean surface. There, they filmed a pink, bumpy blob with cartoonishly big eyes and more pectoral fin rays than you could shake a stick at. Now they've been able to confirm that this was a new to science species. It's a snailfish, and better yet, it's one of the three new to science species described in a new study. There are over 400 species of snailfish across the globe, some of which are the deepest dwelling fish known to science. Now we have three more to add to the roster. The bumpy snailfish, Charaproctus colliculi, which is pinkish in color. Meanwhile, the other two new species, the dark snailfish C. yankii. Okay, so these animals are all the same genus. They're just different species. And sleek snailfish. Oh, never mind. This guy's a different genus. Urliparis M are both black. Two of these are black snailfishes collected on the same dive by the submersible Alvin. As I looked more closely at the specimens, I was very surprised at how different these two individuals are. These were not an adult and a juvenile of the same species. They're very different, both morphologically and genetically. These two species were discovered at Station M, an incredibly valuable research site with decades of exploration and time series data. The fact that two undescribed species of snailfishes were collected from the same place on the same dive at one of the better studied parts of the deep sea in the world highlights how much we still have to learn about our planet. I've got a feeling it's just the picture. Oh, oh wow. Okay, he's swimming. This guy is fascinating. Now this might be in slow motion, but he looks very relaxed. I don't have very much info about snailfish. He looks kind of just happy. Looks looks wise. All three snailfish were found thousands of meters below the ocean surface, but thankfully, through their photos and videos, a team of scientists working with Monterey Bay Research Institute and Aquarium has brought them to the surface for us all to enjoy. As you can see, the bumpy fish is remarkably adorable as deep sea creatures go, looking very different to the dark and sleek snailfish. It might seem odd to have such drastically different colorations among snailfish living in the same region, but when you're this far from the surface, color doesn't count for much. He actually does have there. It's actually quite amazing how far below the ocean many of these creatures have a variety of color. There are the certain eels, I believe, deep under the ocean. They tend to be quite dull, unlike ones you tend to see actually quite close to the surface, like different species of moray eels. At these depths, there is no sunlight, so color becomes less important for hiding. These snailfishes are likely sensing one another in their environment using other means, particularly by picking up vibrations in the water and by smelling and testing their surroundings. Many fishes can actually taste with their fin rays. It's unlikely that these species are using those dexterous pectoral fins to sense. Although there is no sunlight at these depths, there are some flashes of light from bioluminescence. I'm probably thinking of these much smaller organisms. We don't yet know if or how much these species are using vision. This would be a great area for future research. Yeah, I do wonder that too. So is this another species? So this is Chiroproctus yankai, the dark snailfish. Speaking of fin rays, the bumpy snailfish are particularly impressive. Across its body, it has 22, and we were curious to know what so many fin rays could actually do. Turns out they come with many benefits. The beautiful video from MBARI's remotely operated vehicles shows how actively and gracefully this fish is controlling those pectoral fin rays. These rays are very important for swimming, particularly for turning, but also play a role in how the fish senses the surrounding environment. Yeah, so some of this is quite new to me when it comes to these stalefishes. Um, I haven't really looked very much into the very deep depths of the ocean.
You don't do a lot of aquatic, do you?
More towards the surface, but once you hit more than 9,000 feet below the ocean, not very much. Snailfishes belong to the family Leparidae, and they can inhabit drastically different habitats. Some live in shallow tidal pools, while others lurk at the deepest depths of the ocean. But they tend to share a fairly similar body plan consisting of a big head and jelly-like body. Some hitchhike on larger animals using suction pads on their bellies, while others cling to rocks and curl up like a snail. Is this same species? Nope. Um, Say hello to the sleek snailfish Paraliparis M. Geringer's extensive work into their taxonomy, functional morphology, and physiology has brought up closer to understanding how it is they're able to survive under such crushing pressure, where the water is so cold and there is no light. But it's nice to know there are still snailfishes to be discovered out there in the wild. Needless to say, I love snailfishes. I think they're incredible, and working with them is a joy. Well, yeah, they're like a little adorable creatures. You want them as like a little pet, but like you wonder you can actually hug the animal, and you can't. You can't hug them. We often think of deep sea environments as being harsh or extreme because of how different the pressures, temperatures, light, and other conditions
Do you
are.
spend a lot of time thinking about hugging fish?
Yeah, not usually. That's one of those rare incidents. Um, Let's see. And other conditions are from what we experience, but for many organisms, the deep sea, the largest living space on our planet, is home. To me, finding species that seem so fragile, thriving in these habitats highlights the beauty of the deep sea and our responsibility to understand and protect these incredible ecosystems. So that's it for that. I really do wonder how long these snailfishes have been around. They look like something that's could have been around since the Devonian, so at least like 380 million years ago. So at least somewhere around what 100 and 100 um 100 and probably 50 million years before the dinosaurs evolved. But I have no idea. I'm just guessing. So let's move on to the next article. So from newscientist.com, Great Migration involves far fewer wildebeest than we had thought. So, wow. Okay, so we have had a drastic decline in wildebeest, at least what I've heard so far in the Serengeti over in northern Tanzania and southern Kenya. The Masai Mara is part of the Serengeti ecosystem, and even others. There are a wide variety of other protected areas surrounding the Masai Mara and the Serengeti National Park within this region. But yeah, the last time I heard, the wildebeest population was somewhere between 1 and 1.5 million, but even that's not very specific. This also isn't including like the plain zebras and the springbok antelope in the region. Well, let's get to it. An estimate that as many as 1.3 million wildebeest move across the Serengeti Mara landscape each year that has been cut down to size using AI. Okay. Um, okay, well, this is a pretty good picture. Kind of wonder. This probably isn't where it's showing here. Over in the short grass plains, this is where they would calf during like December and early January, and so that's also during the wet season. But I'm trying to think where this could be. Anyway, let's see. East Africa's migration is generally estimated to involve as many as 1.3 million wildebeest. But in reality, fewer than 600,000 of these animals might move across the Serengeti Mara landscape each year. What? Okay, this is this is a shocker. Like this is literally half. I mean, yikes. Okay. What happened? Nobody has like said, there's it's just me or there fewer than there used to be. And the weird thing is, yeah, you could say like certain areas like on the outskirts of the Serengeti have been I wouldn't say developed, just more livestock's been grazing in certain areas, but outside of it, I really don't believe much of the habitat has changed at all. So it's like, did disease come in? Like what? uh, did lions all of a sudden obtain some firearms? They just thought, you know what, we want to break pew pew. But
Wait, but it's saying AI is saying this.
yeah,
So
it could be off. It's very possible. I mean, yeah, it's tons of mistakes. So, anyway, let's keep going. The Great Migration sees wildebeest, zebra, and antelopes move between feeding and breeding grounds in Kenya and Tanzania while also trying to dodge predators, including lions, crocodiles, and hyenas. Um, yeah, technically, like the breeding grounds take place for the most part in the short grass plains over at the bottom of the Serengeti National Park, or even towards the bottom of the Serengeti ecosystem. Serengeti National Park, somewhere around 5,300 square miles. Okay, so assessing the number of animals involved is a tough task, traditionally achieved using crude aerial surveys. Researchers can only survey a small area at a time, however, so they use statistical models to extrapolate densities across unsurveyed regions, which can introduce errors given herds are unevenly distributed and constantly on the move. Satellite surveys can avoid these problems because one photo can cover hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, reducing the chance of double counting animals and removing the need for extrapolative projections. It is impractical to manually count wildebeest in such vast images.
it's what?
Impractical? Impractical. Sorry. Uh, but the animals can be tallied using AI instead. Automation through AI does provide greater consistency and accuracy in counting. I do really wonder though, because this is one of those times where 1.3 million always did seem to be a bit high for the size of the area and the possibly because that's only the blue wildebeest in the region. Um, that's not including the zebras, the springbok. In different areas of Serengeti, you also have different populations of elephants, a handful of black rhinos, some regions. Um, Giraffes. So, I mean, they're all having an impact on the ecosystem. Then warthogs, thousands of gazelle. So, uh, this could be legitimate. For the new study, Duporg and her colleagues trained two deep learning models, UNet and YOLO V8, to identify wildebeest using a data set of images in which 70,417 of the animals had been manually labeled. Both models were then applied to over 4,000 square kilometers of high resolution satellite imagery. The images were captured on August 6th, 2022 and August 28th, 2023. So the wildebeest at this point, I'm guessing they probably already left the Masai Mara at this point, which is on the tip of southern Kenya towards the northern part of just north of Serengeti National Park. And so they're towards like the northeastern side to an extent of the park. Anyway, I'm just mentioning this because they're constantly on the move. I mean, there are certain instances where they're going to stay in a certain place for a short period, but also this is why they're not. The imagery isn't covering like the whole areas because the wildebeest are only going to be focusing on a certain area at a time. Okay, So the two AI models gave similar results, counting 324,202 and 337,926 wildebeest in 2022, and 502,917 and 533,137 in 2023. Wow, that's a difference. Now you have to think of the amount of calves that were being born each year. The substantial difference between the 2022 and 2023 figures reflects the fact that two surveys were conducted at different times of August. It was already known the number of animals involved in the migration rises and falls throughout the month. Yeah, you have certain amount that's being taken out by starvation, dehydration, disease, and then to I think a smaller extent, lions, hyenas, leopards, uh, cheetahs occasionally. But what's encouraging is that both deep learning models, which use very different approaches, produced consistent results. That consistency strengthens our confidence in the reliability of AI based counts for tracking wildlife populations. The previous estimate of 1.3 million produced from aerial surveys has been in place largely unchanged since the 1970s. Okay, I didn't know that. Wow. I thought it was actually much lower back then. So it hasn't changed for at least 45 to um, 53 years. So 52. Based on our findings, I suspect the true population size is closer to around 800,000 individuals if we were able to count every individual with zero error. Still though, actually, that's I mean, okay, that's 200,000 more than it was stating earlier, but, that's not bad. I mean, I know I gave quite a shock earlier, but still, that went from 1 point what, 5, 1.3 million to still a drop. I think the aerial count is an overestimate and ours is a slight underestimate. We missed those under the trees, and there will be some outside of the study area. Well, okay. Certain parts of the Serengeti do have forested acacia areas of the acacia tree. So the stereotypical ones that you see out on the savannah, there's actually a wide array of different species of acacia. But you can have an instance where giraffes might be hiding under them if it's a tall enough acacia, or an elephant. So that's actually quite surprising that it missed them. But you tree kangaroos can hide as well. Okay, there aren't tree kangaroos here. I don't know why I brought them up. But it's very surprising that we can see no more than 533,137.
Quokkas can hide under the
Yeah, it's true. No, no, I mean, yeah, they do hide under the shrubs over, especially like Rottnest Island, Australia.
I meant under the, wildebeest.
Oh, oh, yeah, that too. Lower counts don't necessarily mean wildebeest populations have collapsed. They may have altered their migration routes, but wildebeest do face significant challenges. Okay. Let's see. I think that's it. Okay, well, that is an interesting, but it's really nice to know. I was wondering about that number for a long time. You're seeing it everywhere. And then recently this number shows up. So this is interesting. So it could be somewhere between, what did it say, 530,000 to 800,000. These estimates are quite common with different, I say most species of animals, unless there's literally like only a handful of individuals left. But in this case, I wonder if it's very similar with other, per se, reindeer or caribou populations, further north, or even other wildebeest and zebra populations around Africa. I mean, elephants, that's a big question too. Okay, well, we're going to head over to the next one. From Sci News, fossil of oldest known lepidosaur unearthed in UK. Paleontologists have unearthed a complete skull and skeleton of a Triassic lepidosaur named Agriodontosaurus helspipetri. I'm guessing this is a species of reptile, not dinosaur. Um, yeah, lepidosaur. That sounds very reptilian. In the Helsby Sandstone Formation of Devon, the United Kingdom. Okay, so who do we have here? Yep. Okay, so it's this Lepidosaur reptiles. These, I believe, are very distant relatives of the Archosauromorph. So what would later branch on, or depending on when this was occurring, they might have already evolved at this point, but the archosauromorphs would branch off into the dinosaurs, the crocodilomorphs, true crocodilians, and as well as the birds. The Lepidosauridae is the most species-rich group of land-dwelling vertebrates. This group includes around 12,000 species of lizards and snakes, and one species of Rhynchocephalia, the tuatara from New Zealand. Um, so this is basically a wide variety of different members of Reptilia, which is what the Lepidosauridae lineage is a part of. Collectively known as squamatus, lizards and snakes owe their success to their generally small size, but also to their highly mobile skull that enables them to manipulate large prey. These key features of their skulls are not seen in the tuatara, which makes it important to understand the nature of their common ancestor. Lepidosaurs originated in the Triassic period, 252 to 201 million years ago. So technically, Lepidosaurs first popped up at the beginning of the Triassic, probably around 252 million years ago. But confusion has arisen because of incomplete fossils, many of which are generalized lepidosauromorphs, neither squamates nor rhynchocephalians. It was always expected that the first lepidosaurs would have had some of the lizard characters, such as a partially hinged skull, an open lower temporal bar, and abundant teeth on the roof of the mouth, palate. Towards the upper part of the upper jaw. Yeah, that's what it's referred to as the roof. Oh, I said roof? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just roof. These are all features of modern lizards and snakes that enable them to manipulate large prey by opening their mouths super wide, skull hinge, and use teeth on the palate to grasp wriggling small prey animals. I don't think they're wriggling at that point. They're just like, eat. The lower or anyway, the lower temporal bar is essentially the cheekbone, a bony rod that runs between the cheek and the jaw hinge is absent in lizards and snakes today.
Why does it sound like it got its jaw busted and someone stuck a rod through it to fix him?
Um, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds painful. Snakes and many lizards have all these features, as well as some additional flexibility of the skull. Only the Tuatara has a complete lower temporal bar, giving it an archaic look reminiscent of some of the earliest and ancestral reptiles. And it also has some large palatal teeth. The fossilized remains of um, Ariad- Agriodontosaurus housed by Petri were found back in 2015 on the beach in Devon, the United Kingdom. The specimen dates back, I believe Devon's over in southern England. The specimen dates back 242 million years ago to the Middle Triassic epoch. I'd say it's still early Triassic. It's in the first 8 to 10 million years, just before the dinosaurs appeared. The dinosaurs now, I mean, we keep finding what seems to be earlier specimens, but they probably wouldn't appear for also another 8 million years at least. It is around 3 to 7 million years older than the oldest currently known lepidosaur, Wartenbergia from the Erfurt Formation. Oh, okay. So I was a bit off. They appeared what close to the same time as the first dinosaurs. I just thought they were much earlier. The new fossil shows almost none of what we expected. It has no teeth on the palate and no sign of any hinging. It does, though, have the open temporal bar, so 1 out of 3. Not only this, but it possesses some spectacularly large teeth compared to its closest relatives. Agriodontosaurus, held by Petri, had a body length of about 10 centimeters, or was that 4 or 5 inches? And a unique combination of features. When you look at the fossil, the whole skeleton sits in the palm of your hand, said University of Bristol's Professor Michael Benton. I've heard of him. Um, but after the scans and the hard work of our students cleaning up the scan data, we can see the most amazing detail. The new beast has relatively large triangular shaped teeth and probably used these to pierce and shear the hard cuticles of its insect prey, pretty much as the tuatara does today. The new animal is unlike anything yet discovered and has made us all think again about the evolution of the lizard, snakes, and the tuatara. Okay, so we have a lot of info on the morphology and the anatomy of Agriodontosaurus, as well as giving more insight into the evolution of the tuatara lizard. So it is the only one of its kind that exists today. And yes, it does prey on different species of insects over in New Zealand. Possibly, yeah, close relatives, if not the Tuatara itself, have existed since the at least Paleocene epoch. So we're talking somewhere around 55 to 60 million years ago, possibly much earlier into the Cretaceous. So before we move forward, okay, from PopSci popsci.com or Popular Science, leopard seals sing like the Beatles. Oh God, what are you doing? No! A concert is raging underneath the sea ice, but will we drown it out? Well, if it sounds like this, I hope you do. Um, you could do better than that, guys. Okay, a leopard seal on ice floe in Port Lockroy at Wank Island, Antarctica. Leopard seals are actually quite common. There could be easily over 800,000 individuals, possibly more. Okay, so let's see. No, none of this has to do with the seal. Um, let's see. The rising din threatens to drown out the ocean's own voices. Songs so well structured that leopard seals, or Hydruga leptonics melody appears to fall somewhere between a dolphin whistle and a human lullaby. Okay, this doesn't have to do with anything. No, I'm just trying to get to the leopard seal itself. Where? Wait, hold on a second. Wait, go up. No. Jeez. Okay, here we go. Said up here, study recently published in scientific reports found that leopard seals arrange their songs with a surprising sense of order. Each breeding season, male leopard seals dive beneath the ice and repeat long solitary sequences of five distinct call types for hours on end. There's been a lot more research being done recently on pinniped communication systems. So this is good to hear. Researchers analyze those patterns using a tool from information theory called entropy, which quantifies how much variation or randomness is within a pattern sequence. They discovered the seals' underwater areas were more structured than dolphin whistles or humpback songs, yet less rigid in human music. In fact, the seals landed in the same statistical range as nursery rhymes, where repetition and predictability help a message carry and be remembered. So I guess let's see what this is. Oh, wait, it's just going to be the. Yeah, we're not going to be able to. Can we do it? No, we can't really hear anything. We can't assume that a particular sound has a particular meaning in the way that we do with words. But we can assume that a particular combination of sounds is very meaningful. I wonder if leopard seals create a wide range of clicks in the water, kind of like with what you hear in walruses, even though they're a bit distantly related to walruses. And you hear this with also different species of Antarctic seals as well, like crab-eating seals, metal seals. Who else am I missing? Southern elephant seals. These sound combos placed leopard seals curiously alongside us. When their calls were compared against everything from squirrel monkey chatter to melodies like by the Beatles, their songs showed a balance of randomness and order that suggests style, not just repertoire. Um, Matters for communication. In the vast and noisy Southern Ocean, such predictability may be the key to helping rivals or potential mates recognize an individual voice across miles of ice and water. Each male combines the five call types in his own fixed sequence. functioning almost like a personal name that allows others to recognize him across the ice. So let's see. The original leopard seal recordings were captured in remote, rugged Antarctica during the 1990s. Yet, even here at the bottom of the Earth, the soundscape is shifting. The continent remains relatively insulated from the constant hum of shipping lanes or coastal industry, yet it is not immune. Okay, let's keep going. Mm, wait, no. Wait, females do sing, though not with the same long pattern displays as males. Yeah, it sounds about right. Um, it's like, okay, I just had a bunch of Antarctic krill. I feel very nice at the moment. Actually, krill consists of a much larger part of their diet than penguins do, despite leopard seals being stereotyped as only eating penguins, even just emperor penguins. They actually feed on wide variety of like different species of fish, as well as krill. But penguins are part of their diet, but it's not. It's much smaller than even the krill. So let's see. Do anything else? Nope, that's it. Okay, well, um, yeah. So this is good to hear about what we've found out about different leopard seal communication systems. So here we go. Let's move on to the next one from Alaska's newssource.com. Big vegetables for big appetites. Bears munch on produce from the Alaska State Fair. I'm guessing they're donating this to like a rescue center. Oh, well. Okay. It's a problem we all face what to do with all those leftover vegetables so they don't go to waste. The Alaska State Fair, in conjunction with the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, has devised a solution to the age old problem, feeding them to the bears. This year, they're getting a lot of cabbage. I'm not sure if that's a good thing for the bears, but I'm not entirely sure about that.
It's going to make the bears pretty gassy.
Yeah, or maybe they're combining it with corned beef. That was pretty cool to see. We've got some carrots mixed in. Are you giving them corned beef? Everybody loves carrots, and then we also have some zucchinis. Okay, I guess it's the first time I've never heard somebody giving zucchinis to. We don't know what type of bear they're giving it to, though, so maybe it makes sense.
Maybe there's deer in there.
Well, yeah, that too. With so many vegetables to choose from, the animals get a smorgasbord of options, which provide them with enrichment as well as a healthy meal. Okay, depending on what cabbage, zucchini, none of these. Okay, no bears that I know of naturally eat this, so this isn't healthy. This is okay, but some are more skeptical than others. You should be. Okay, a lot of our hoof stock animals will kind of they'll look at us, throw it in, and they'll look at the cabbage or whatever it is, and they'll kind of look at us like, "What do I do with that?" Exactly. They know. Why are you giving me zucchini and cabbage? What did I do? I need to move down. Let's see.
Are they waiting on the blueberry dump?
Yeah, very likely. Like blueberries, what else do they like? Well, yeah, bears like yeah, some salmon. I'm trying to think of something else. Yes, like moose burger. Then with the bears, because we've been doing it so long and we zuzz them up and we kind of have some fun with it, the bears, I think, know when the tractor comes in, something good is about to come my way. Yeah, not this year. The once a year offering is a source of pride for the organization. How's this pride? Because it allows the animals to engage in some destructive fun. You're giving them vegetables and what are those things called? Potato, not potatoes. Pumpkin. Members of the pumpkin family. Think. Yeah, the squash. I get mixed up with that. The bears are not proud. The deer aren't even proud. Like, why? You could have given me okay, if it's what fall, it's early September. Mm, it's kind of early for like a acorn or nut crop, but it depends on the year. Just give them some. I don't know what to say.
I
Bread.
thought I've heard of pumpkins being stolen off of people's porches by bears.
Oh yeah. Well, that's also later into October, but well, I mean, you could say September, maybe. Um, yeah, they will. Anyway, at least yeah, they're somewhat sweet. Technically, you could say pumpkins are also not a natural part of their feeding behavior because pumpkins are from South America, not North America. So let's see. Same thing for corn. Anyway, I'm just so thankful because it's such a fun day for all the animals. They get really into it. They don't get this kind of big enrichment that often. That's sad. This is called big enrichment. You're not like throwing them in like some fake walrus or something. Well, I mean, like I forgot what material that they use, but like some giant enrichment toy I've seen being thrown in for polar bears at this rescue center in the UK. It's like Yorkshire Wildlife Park. Anyway, and so especially driving in with a tractor and letting the bears just kind of rip through the bucket. That's not something we allow the bears to do all the time. Jeez, what is this place? The bears know the sign of a good time and will sometimes put on a show for the crowd that has gathered to watch. Where is this? Whenever JB gets up on the tractor and really starts pushing down the bucket because he just wants to get all the yummies that are in the bucket with the vegetables, that's always a real highlight for me. What are the yummies? Um,
It's saying they're putting something else in there.
yeah,
It's probably fruit of some sort that's mixed into it.
yeah, there could be. Yeah, there might even be like fish. Who knows? And then Kobuk as well, our black bear, is kind of known as our stick twirler at the wildlife center. When he gets some of these really big veggies, it's kind of fun to see him like, what am I supposed to do with this? Do I twirl with this? Or is it going to be my new club? What? This is weird. Um um anyway, it's unfortunate they're giving cabbage to bears. Like, if it's I think it's okay, like, if it's something like who would it be? Maybe a sun bear or I don't know, even him, that's odd. Okay, so we're going to head over to our last article, and then we'll be back tomorrow. So, from iflscience.com, the largest turtle ever known to have lived was an absolute unit. To say Archelon was a big boy is something of an understatement. It might have been a specific species of Archelon or another genus belonging to this ancient marine turtle lineage. Hmm. Yeah, I guess a different one. I'd combine them with like another thing later on. Um, let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to think with what's going on here. Oh, okay. So from NBCPhiladelphia.com. Man, Sheesh. Manatee spotted along the Jersey Shore. A manatee has been repeatedly spotted along the Jersey Shore. Um, okay, so that's weird. While fishing from his deck in Belmar, New Jersey, back on Saturday, September 6th, something big and brown caught Josh Valerio's eye. It's funny. It was a 8 foot manatee right here. Whoa, that wasn't hitting me because I'm thinking like, wait a second. Only the seals native to that part of New England were hitting me. Wait, oh, is New Jersey part of New England? A bit further south. I think it's at least just further south. Um, let's see. Valero said the slow-moving creature swam around a lagoon in Belmar Saturday night for about an hour. I was shocked to see a manatee up in these waters. I've never heard. I found it quite extraordinary when I forgot in early 2000s. I think a sea cow or Florida manatee was spotted all the way past Nashville, Tennessee. Like that was shocking. But New Jersey? How warm was your summer? It could just be one of those nutty years, and the sea cow just thought, okay, well, they said it couldn't be done, and um, they went up there. Several sightings of the manatee in and around the Shark River in New Jersey have been reported to Brigantine's Marine Mammal Stranding Center since the start of the weekend. This is quite unique. I wonder what exactly this manatee is going to be feeding on, considering they're specifically herbivores. Like they don't feed on fish. We're just monitoring the animal. Water temperatures are still pretty good, pretty safe for the animal. He probably I wonder if the manatee, since they're quite sensitive to temperature, um, the moment that it lowers in temperature, it might move. I'm guessing it's going to move further south. Manatees, let's see. Yeah, they're considered a threatened species. They're more commonly found in Florida's coastal waters, but spotting them along the Jersey shore is rare, but not unheard of. It's not? Seems to be happening more and more frequently over the years. That's interesting. I haven't heard of this. Staff members at the Marine Mammal Stranding Center said it's possible that the same manatee spotted in New Jersey was also seen in Massachusetts earlier in the summer. It might have. Whoa. Okay. He's hanging out with the moose. What on earth? They're like, what are you doing here? I heard it was a warm summer. Yeah, we hate it. He's like, well, it's okay for me. Uh, it, it it might have to do a little bit with the oh, come on. Okay, also depending on the seasonal currents, food availability. You can have just warmer years. The manatee's presence is raising concerns about potential encounters with boaters who are being urged to slow down and keep their distance from the creature. There are a lot of fast boats out there. Nobody is thinking that there's going to be a manatee sitting just below the surface. Experts say the manatee could be soon spotted in waterways in Ocean, Atlantic, and Cape May counties as it makes its way south. If anybody sees it, we ask police to call in. Let us know. We'll get some volunteers down there or some other authorities to confirm that the animal is there and check on its condition. Hagel said that the manatee likely weighs close to 1,000 pounds. So that's a decent sized Florida manatee. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, it's good to see he's in healthy condition, but he's all the way in New Jersey. And apparently, there was another one in Massachusetts. That's extraordinary. This is just really neat to hear. Okay, so um, oh, it's from NBC Philadelphia. Well, yeah, this was pretty good. I hope he makes it back to Florida in time for the fall because it's definitely once late September approaches, it's going to start cooling over in New Jersey and Massachusetts. And I'm guessing he's probably going to head down different parts of Maryland, Delaware, and then down to North Carolina, South Carolina, and finally Florida. So, hope you enjoyed this Creature Guide Live Daily News live stream. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know. So, oh, and I will see you tomorrow.